Hey guys, welcome back to another video where we are going to look at some of the usability enhancements which have been added to Modern Work Center module as part of Agile.NX version 8 software update 2 release. The Modern Work Center introduced in version 8 release received a lot of customer accolades and appreciation. Its quick adoption speaks volumes about its usefulness and how much our customers loved it. We have been collecting feedback from customers to understand how we can take the whole experience to the next level, and some of the features I'm going to cover came out of the customer wish list. Let's look at these in action. The first enhancement we are going to look at is regarding summary fields. We introduced summary fields feature for card layout of task list and process instance list in previous release. I had recorded a detailed video on how this feature works, which can be referenced on the previous blog post on this topic. It was limited to card layout only because in grid view, it could become difficult to manage if you had each application adding its own custom columns, as you would quickly have hundreds of columns in the grid if a user is part of multiple applications, and most would have been empty if tasks did not belong to the app for which the column was added. Whereas in card layout, we did not have to worry about this as one card layout does not affect the way other card data is shown. And it is also very good for performance as we can dynamically fetch data for the card which is being viewed. However, for those of you who prefer to use grid view, we did not want you guys to be left behind. And with this release, we have introduced summary fields in grid view along with the custom view feature in a way which will make sure the UI aesthetics are maintained and performance is also not compromised. Let's see how to enable summary fields in grid view when combined with the custom view feature. So I'm in my environment over here. I'm going to go to App Builder. Now, as I mentioned, I've covered the summary view feature in one of the other blog post videos. I'm going to just give you a quick refresher. I can go to the app itself, and there's a menu option over here called Summary Fields. And as you saw in the previous video, I can actually add summary fields over here. This is key data which can be used by business stakeholders to make some key decisions without having to open the task itself. So right now I have this expense report with requester and total field showing up over here. I'm going to add one more field, say department. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the form fields and I'm going to look for a field called department and just drag and drop over here. Now, some of the key things about summary fields is summary fields display as soon as they are saved. Publishing the app is not required. So any changes you make over here would be immediately picked up by the previous running instances as well. Summary fields can only display simple data such as strings, numbers, and dates. It cannot show complex structures like repeating data or subform data. Summary fields do not display in Classic Work Center, and summary fields display to any user who has access to the associated app in Work Center. So with that in mind, I added a department column over here, and I'm going to click OK. Now if I switch back to Work Center, and if I go to Inbox, Tasks, I have 3 tasks which are running for that application, and as you can see in the card layout, they never disturb the other cards layout. You can always expand it and see the corresponding data over here on the card without affecting other cards UI layout. Whereas that was not the case in grid view, supposing there were tasks belonging to multiple applications. So now what we have done is, for those of you who wanted to use grid view and those columns were not showing up over here, we have provided a way that if you go to filter and you filter based on app name, my app name is expense report. Now, if you select only one app name over here, so we added that limitation that if you are creating a custom view with only one app name, you see a way of specifying the summary fields for grid view. This is done so that the UI of grid view is maintained. You are not adding a whole lot of columns, and also the performance is good. And this is covered in the tooltip as well. The moment I select a second app, that field goes away. I'm going to uncheck this one. See the summary fields. I'm going to add all three of them over here. And I get one more option that show summary fields at the beginning of the grid or towards the end of the grid itself. So I'm going to say show at the beginning of the grid. And I'm going to go ahead and say apply. So now you can see my three custom columns started appearing in the grid view. Now I can always save it as a custom view. I'm going to call it expense report tasks. This is available to all groups. Don't allow people to edit filters, and this is currently active. I'm going to go ahead and click save. So now that I have created a view that is available over here. So if I go to tasks over here, even if I remove my filter, now if I'm using the card layout, if you see over here, there is a view available. If I click on it, it shows me the grid view with the corresponding summary fields. Now this grid view can be added on your page builder widget as well. If you remember, the custom views can be added in the page builder. So you could present it whichever way you wanted. So now in the grid view, you have feature of showing custom columns. So that was the first enhancement. Now the next one we are going to look at is quick view of forms. So I'm going to switch to settings. This is control through settings. I'm going to go to work center. Under modern work center settings, if you scroll down, there are two new properties. Open eForm in quick view. You can enable or disable it. If you have enabled it, and you can set the maximum number of tabs which you can open in quick view. By default, it is set to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. If I go to work center, inbox, tasks, what this feature does is, if you remember, there were always these options which are available, which will pop out the form in the new window. That feature is still there, but what we have provided is if you click on the name of the task, it opens the form on the side itself. It's the quick view of the form, so it doesn't go into the new window, and you can open multiple of these. So if I click on the second one, now the second form is loaded, so I can quickly view these in line itself. I can expand it. I can take the actions right over here, like reassign, view process. All those actions are available. And if I want it, I can maximize it. I can minimize it. It goes back to this view. Or I can again pop it out in a new window if I want it. So quick view loads the form faster, and you can see it side by side along with your tasks quickly. And you can open up to n number of tabs. I've set it to 10 by default in my environment. So that's the second enhancement which has been added. Now the third one we are going to look at is around apps. So I'm going to switch to apps, and I'm going to go to the expense report app over here. And you see a star icon over here. I can click on it, and this marks the app as a favorite app or a starred app. And I can close this one. And what it does is, if I go to the home page, you see there is a starred app tab over here. You can see the app, your favorite apps listed over there. As well as if you go to my apps, you have the frequently used apps, all apps, and there is a starred apps section over here. So anything which I marked as a starred app would be available, which I use very frequently. I can just mark it over here as well. If I click on it again, it goes away from the starred apps section on both home page as well as the my apps area. The next enhancement we are going to look at is app filter. So now there is filtering available at an app level as well. So you can click on app filter. You can select various options like whether you want to see only process-based apps, form-based apps, app belonging to a certain category. So for example, I'll say show me only accounting and finance apps. I can select specific apps if I want it. Sort order is available, sort by is available as well. And I can even filter it based on dates. I can say show me apps which have been published in last 7 days or last 15 days or between a certain date or in last X number of days. I'm going to leave it as default, click apply. So once this is done, if you see over here, right now there are 2 apps available, so it got filtered. I'm going to save this view. I'm going to call it say finance apps, and I can set whether this view would be available to a certain groups or all groups. I'm going to just say all groups for now. Whether people should be able to modify the filters in the app view. I'm going to say no, lock down the filters. I can also map that these app views are available for page builder only. So you can create certain app views for page builder. And if you are creating team specific pages, this can come in very handy. I'm going to keep it unchecked. This should be available in both main work center as well as page builder. It should be active. I can always deactivate it if I wanted. And whether in the app view you want to show frequently used apps or starred apps tab as well or not. Now this will depend on how many apps you intend to show over here. If you're going to show only a couple of apps, makes no sense to check those. That's why by default those are disabled, but you can always check those and those would be visible. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. Now you see the other two tabs have been hidden. And if you go over here, there's a new section which started appearing called app views. And here is an app view which has been created for me. And the same app view can be added, as I mentioned, in the page builder as well on team specific pages. Now, anybody who has admin privileges can go in and manage these as well. He can edit these views, delete these views as well. So that's regarding the app view feature. One more thing I'm going to mention is if I go to my apps area, I have the filter setup. If I hover over any of these filters, now we show a tooltip with whatever is the filter criteria so that you don't have to bring up the filter window. This makes it easier for the user to know what kind of filters have been set up without having to clear them. I'm going to go ahead and clear these. Now the next feature we are going to look at is quick launch feature. On the app, if you click on the information icon, now there are certain apps which your users use a lot and they have to submit requests one after the other. They might be working on a bad job and they want to enter information one after the other. So instead of having to see all the submission and confirmation screens, what you can do is you can add it to quick launch, give it a name. I'm going to call it expense report. You can select which group should be able to see this. I'm going to say all groups for now, and whether to open this in a new tab or not. I'm going to say leave it as an inline, click add. Now what happens is under quick launch area, you will see this app is listed. I called it expense report. Now because I said render it inline, it is rendering inline instead of in a new tab. Now you see that the app form got rendered over here. I'm going to fill it out real quick. I'm going to pick a date, category, enter some expense, and I'm going to go ahead and click submit. What you'll see is the moment I submitted it, the next form got loaded immediately. There was no confirmation screen required, no redirection. It got suppressed and immediately it starts loading it. So I can enter this data quickly one after the other. Now, if I would have entered any data and I want to just get rid of it, I can always click on the plus button over here and it would have opened the new form. So that was the quick launch feature which is available for data entry operators. Now, the next one we are going to look at is if you go to tasks, you'll see an option over here to export your tasks in a CSV file. So if I click on it, you can see that there is a CSV file which got generated with all my task data. Now, the same feature is available in grid view as well as for the process view as well. The CSV download as CSV feature is available. So these were some of the miscellaneous enhancements which have been added as part of the Modern Work Center as part of this release. There have been other major enhancements done in Work Center as well, which will be covered in their own dedicated videos. Thanks a lot for your time.